Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. This is your host, and you're watching this channel. In today's world, communication is instant. But less than 150 years ago, the idea of hearing someone's voice across great distances was impossible. That was until one man changed history forever. This was the man with an incredible mind who invented the telephone and brought the world closer together. We will explore how he created a device that enabled communication through sound over long distances, how he overcame challenges and criticisms to bring us the gift of instant communication. His legacy lives on and continues to shape our world. So join us as we uncover the story of the genius who connected the world through sound. Before we begin, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on more amazing stories. Let's start. Alexander Graham Bell was born in Edinburgh, Scotland on March 1847. His birth name was Alexander Melville Bell, but he was known as Graham Bell. His father, Thomas Bell, was a prominent elocutionist, and his grandfather, John Kelly, was a well-known Scottish poet and writer. His mother, Eliza Simpson, unfortunately passed away when Graham was only 13 years old. However, she left a lasting impact on his life. She was a gifted singer and actress. Despite her hearing loss, she used sign language to communicate with her family. This early exposure to deafness sparked a lifelong passion in Graham to find ways to help those who couldn't hear. Growing up in a house filled with books, Graham developed a love for reading from an early age. He would spend hours poring over books about science, literature, and history. By the time he was 12, he had taught himself several languages, including French, German, and Latin. At the age of 16, Bell moved to London to study at the University of Edinburgh. There he met his future wife, Mabel Hubbard. She came from a wealthy family who supported Graham's work on the telephone. In 1865, Bell emigrated to Canada with his father, but they soon returned to the United States, where they settled in Boston. It was around this time that Bell became fascinated with the idea of transmitting sound over wires. He wanted to find a way to help people who were deaf or hard of hearing to communicate more easily. His research led him to experiment with various devices that could convert sound waves into electrical signals and transmit them through wires. After experimenting with sound for some time, he came up with the idea of the telephone. In order to pursue his idea further, Bell secured financial support from his wife's father, Gardner Green Hubbard, and established the Bell Telephone Company in 1877. This allowed him to focus his efforts on developing the telephone and bringing it to market. So, in 1875, Bell met an African-American man named Thomas Watson, who became his assistant and helped him in his experiments. Together, they worked tirelessly, conducting countless tests and refining their designs. They experimented with different materials and configurations for the telephone, trying to find the perfect combination of parts that would produce the clearest sound transmission. Their goal was to create a device that could accurately reproduce the human voice over long distances. As the experiments progressed, Bell and Watson began to see promising results. They found that by using a diaphragm to vibrate a metal strip and then converting those vibrations into an electrical signal, they could transmit sound through a wire. They also discovered that by varying the voltage and current of the electrical signal, they could control the volume and clarity of the sound. Despite facing many obstacles and setbacks, Bell and Watson continued their work. They knew that they were on the verge of a major breakthrough. The breakthrough came on March 10, 1876. After years of tireless work and experimentation, Bell and Watson achieved what they had set out to do. You probably already know what happened next, don't you? Yes, Bell famously said, "Mr. Watson, come here. I want to see you." And Watson, who was in another room, heard him clearly. The two men embraced in a moment of pure joy and excitement. They had done it. They had successfully transmitted the human voice through an electrical wire. Word of their invention spread quickly, and soon people from all over the world were eager to try the telephone. Bell and Watson had invented something truly special. It was a device that could connect people and bring them closer together no matter how far apart they were. The telephone was not just a technological marvel, it was a gift that would change the world. It would revolutionize communication and bring people closer together. Over the next few years, Bell and Watson continued to refine and improve the telephone. They developed new technologies that allowed for clearer sound transmission and longer distances. They also worked to make the telephone more accessible to the general public. They realized that their invention had the power to connect people like never before, and they wanted everyone to experience it. But the journey to success was not easy. Along the way, Bell faced many challenges and setbacks. There were doubters who thought that his invention would never work. There were also competitors who tried to copy his invention and take credit for it. But Bell remained focused on his goal. He knew that he had created something truly special, and he was determined to make it a success. Despite the challenges, the telephone quickly gained popularity. People from all walks of life were eager to try it out and see what all the hype was about. Soon, telephone lines were being installed in homes, businesses, and public places all over the world. The telephone had become an indispensable tool for communication. It wasn't long before the telephone connected not just individuals, but also cities, states, and even countries. People could now talk to loved ones who lived thousands of miles away. Businesses could connect with customers and partners all over the world. The telephone had truly connected the world like never before. Unfortunately, Bell did not live to see the full extent of his invention's impact. He passed away on August 2nd, 1922, but his legacy lives on. The telephone has continued to evolve and improve over the years, but the basic principles that Bell discovered remain the same. Every time we pick up a phone and dial a number, we are connected to Bell's genius. Although Bell's invention of the telephone was a remarkable achievement, he faced numerous challenges and criticisms along the way. Some people simply didn't believe that the telephone would ever work. They thought it was a crazy idea that would never amount to anything. These skeptics argued that transmitting sound through wires was impossible and that Bell was wasting his time. Others thought that the telephone was nothing more than a toy and that it would never be useful for practical communication. They believed that the telephone would never be able to replace the telegraph, which was the dominant form of long-distance communication at the time. Despite these criticisms, Bell remained determined to succeed. He knew that he was onto something big, and he was not going to let anyone stand in his way. Another challenge that Bell faced was competition. There were other inventors who were also working on the telephone, and they were eager to beat Bell to the finish line. This created a race to patent the telephone, and Bell had to work tirelessly to stay ahead of the competition. He knew that if he didn't succeed, someone else would and take all the credit. Despite the pressure and the skepticism, Bell persevered. He continued to work on his invention and refine his design. He knew that he had something special and he was determined to bring it to life. One of the most significant challenges that Bell faced was a lawsuit from another inventor named Elisha Gray. Gray had filed a caveat, which was a type of legal claim that allowed him to secure funding for his own telephone invention. When Bell received his patent for the telephone, Gray argued that he had invented the telephone first and that Bell had stolen his idea. This created a legal battle that lasted for years, and it threatened to destroy Bell's reputation and his company. But in the end, Bell was cleared of all charges and his patent was upheld. Despite all the challenges he faced, Bell was ultimately successful. His invention of the telephone revolutionized communication and connected people like never before. He is remembered as one of the greatest inventors of all time, and his legacy continues to live on today. The telephone has evolved into a ubiquitous device that is used by billions of people around the world. And it all started with the genius of one man. Alexander Graham Bell was a true visionary. He dared to dream of a world where people could talk to each other no matter how far apart they were. He faced countless challenges and criticisms, but he never gave up on his dream. His perseverance and determination paid off, and he changed the world forever. Bell's invention of the telephone was a monumental achievement. It connected people and brought them closer together. It also opened up new possibilities for communication and made it easier than ever to do business and connect with loved ones. Overall, Alexander Graham Bell was a true genius. He was a visionary who dared to dream big and make the impossible possible. His invention of the telephone revolutionized communication and connected the world like never before. Bell's legacy continues to live on today, and his contributions to society are immeasurable. He was a true innovator and a pioneer, and his work paved the way for many future inventions and technologies. Bell's story is an inspiration to us all. It shows us that with hard work, determination, and a little bit of genius, we can achieve anything. Thank you, Alexander Graham Bell, for giving us the gift of communication. That's all for today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe for more updates on amazing stories. We'll see you next time.